Okay. Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner Classic Known Classics. This is episode number 2330 and Doubleshot number 2224. Now, these two trades have in common. The fact that Grant Morris wrote one of these, this particular series in the future, the other one basically he wrote in the past. Yeah, first we have is Superman Mon-El. Yep. Yeah, this is the Mon-El issues for Superman. Collecting issues from the Superman title. Well, first it has a story from Action Comics A number 10 along with Superman 864 to 890 and Action Comics 874. The end number 10 basically is a reintroduction to Mon-El, and then basically he's brought into modern day. Now, throughout this story, basically we see where he comes back to present day, he gets a cure for his lead poisoning he set back in the previous story, thanks to a mysterious bottle that popped up out of nowhere in the Fortress of Solitude. It's later revealed this actually was planted there by one of the members of the League of Superheroes. I think it was Brainiac who created this cure. So, he's given his cure and he's allowed to basically live in Metropolis. This is also built to when the Kryptonians leave the planet. Superman also finds out, though, that Zod is really defensive and given up pardon for his crimes. Yeah, because when he did the High Council, well, here's the thing. Unlike the DCU version where he also murdered Jor-El, this one did not do that. He was just friends with Jor-El. Yeah, this is more in line with the version that partially what we see in Man of Steel, but not fully. Where, despite the fact that Superman just tried to get into a fight with Zod because he's his mortal enemy, he's like, no, my people are alive, so I have no reason to fight you. And of course, he goes off there. It's a brief encounter. He doesn't ask about Kara, his cousin. He also refers to Allura as Aunt Allura, which is probably one of the very rare occasions he ever does. Because that's something strange about this. Because Allura, Zor-El, is Superman's aunt. Yes, basically Superman's, being a nephew of basically Zor-El. Kara is not in this story at all. Not really. So basically, this is of course also dealing with the aftermath of the death of Jonathan Kent. So we have where Mon-El, where he basically meets with Martha Kent, and where he basically had a chat with her, and then all of a sudden he takes the alias of Jonathan Kent. Yes, taking the of a man who's actually deceased. And he becomes a member. He basically, as a favor to Superman, the Guardian. Yeah, the Guardian is in this book, but it's not the original one. It's a clone. You could say this guy is the son of the Guardian, despite the fact he never had actual kids. He's more like a clone son. And we do see a woman named Billy Harper in here. Billy Harper is the great niece of the original Guardian, which makes her the cousin of Roy Harper. Yes, Roy Harper's cousin. And because she's by the same family. And she's different skin color for some reason. Now, throughout this book, it's similar, the way they write this, though, it's similar to the writer of this book. I think it's James Robertson who wrote this one. I think it's him. With James Robertson, Renaud Gallus, Jose Mazzaro, Paulo Armadale, Harapina, and Perry Perez. Jeff Johns Richard does the Who is Clark Kent's brother, the Action Comics one. Eric on the artwork. It's similar with basically how Superman was running when he was working with the other planet. Here he's working for the police department. So he goes off and change. And the first villain he fights up against is Rampage, which he did not know he was going to have a fall. And then he also fights also Shrapnel, who is not a Superman villain. He's a Doom Patrol villain. So you go from a Superman villain to a Doom Patrol villain. Oh, and Jonathan Kent, Mon-El's cover story, he used to work for Interpol. Yep, the fact he used to work for Interpol, and the fact that him, along with some others, were recruited from various agencies to work for the Science Police. Now, the Science Police, I mentioned before, the one of these universe, they're most of them lead superheroes comics. This is the present-day version of this organization. Except they work in Metropolis, not all over the world. Are part of the big universe as a whole. Now you might be thinking, okay, now this is what the Science Police headquarters looks like. It's a really nice, it's okay looking building, though the stuff on the outside looks kind of weird. Plus, you gotta love how Guardian's drawn. He looks so good. Yeah, and after the whole thing, now, aside from fighting, well, Rampage and Shrapnel, is there any other, like, villains that Mon-El fights in present-day Metropolis? We also have a guest appearance in here by Black Lightning. Yes, Black Lightning here. The Superman they beat by Black Lightning, the defender of Suicide Slum. By the way, Jimmy also interviews Zadara, Zatanna's cousin. She is mentioned here, but she's not here. And this woman here. This is Billy Harper, the Guardian's great niece. Looks like, though, he also takes the time to take on Plastique. Yes, apparently off-panel he defeated Plastique of all people. Yes, that woman there, that is Plastique. The ex-wife of Captain Atom. Yep. Excuse me, you're probably thinking it's like anybody else he fights? Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, he ends up also fighting the Atomic Skull. Well, the Atomic Skull pops up here, like, okay. But it's a Guardian fight of not Mon-El. And the LST is in this one issue here where he looked like he's going to fight Ion. Looked like Lex could pop up here, and along with Atlas. Yeah, Atlas works for Project 774, which is the military group that Samuel Lang is part of. At one point, he briefly loses his powers. He gets it back. That becomes a mystery of what's going on with his powers. It's implied they cure some of it. They have Squadron K here to arrest Mon-El because he's suspected of being Kryptonian. Yes, he is suspected of being Kryptonian just because he's the same powers. Except he's a Daxamite. Complete different species. And then we have Dr. Light show up here. Yes, Dr. Light, who does investigate Mon-El. And then we have Codename Assassin. He's here too. Yeah, Morgan Edge makes a quick cameo. By the way, the Parasites in these issues? Yes, the Parasite, along with Steel. Yeah, Steel's here too. Yeah, then we have John Henry Irons being confronted by Atlas. Yes, I will be discussing him in the future. Oh, don't worry about that, because basically I'm discussing this guy's debut. Oh, did you know he's a creation of Jack the King Kirby? Yeah, he is. He's a creation of Jack Kirby. Yeah, so we also need Mark Merlin appear in this issue here. Let's see if I can find out who he is. Mike Merlin was a detective. Yes, he was a detective. He's an old character. It is quite interesting, though, the fact that he makes a return here. Yeah, and by the way, the guy he meets, this is Zachary Zatanna. Zachary Zatanna, who is the nephew of John Zadara. Yeah. His appearance here is quite interesting. Yeah. Is this his sole appearance in the Superman comic? Well, he appears for these issues, and appears one more issue after this, and that's it. I mean, the first appearance in this book in issue 680, which I'll be discussing that in the future. Don't worry about that. Yeah, in case you're curious, though, publication-wise for this one, Well, since we start with issue 684 to 690, we cover the time period of, well, actually, we're like January of 2009 to, excuse me, and we pretty much end up with, let's see, I think it's July of 2009. But this proved to be really good. I thoroughly enjoy this. I'm going to give this book, Superman Mon-El, a 10 out of 10. It's that good. Oh, in case of Mark Merlin, this is one of his very rare appearances. Like, apparently at the post-crisis, the guy only appeared like 4 times. Yeah. He appeared in issue 779 of the Detective Comics, which I believe discussed this issue already in another video. He also appeared in issue 690 and 692 in issue Zombie, and that was pretty much it for him. That came out in 2011. That was like one of his more last. I say probably his last appearance was probably 692. Would that be something to discuss in the future about that one? Yep. Yeah, like I said, 10 out of 10. Really good. Yeah. I don't mind this time period of DC Comics in particular. No, I don't. Okay, next up we have is the third and final trade for Doom Patrol, which collects Grant Morrison's run for Doom Patrol. Unlike the last book, which contained from issue, I think it was like 35 to 50, which was 15 straight issues. This one surprisingly only contains the last 13 issues of his run, issues 51 to 63, and the Doom Force special. Doom Force special, just a parody of X-Force. That's all it is. Now, in these issues in particular, we got a lot of revelations throughout this last year of Grant Morrison's run. By the way, the artwork I have here, mostly Richard Case in the artwork with Ken Stacy, Sean Phillips. Yes, John Phillips did work in this book. Philip Bond, Stan Walsh, Mark McKenna, Scott Hanna, Steve Poog, Ian Montgomery, Paris Collins, Duke Middleton, Brad Venita, Walt Simonson, and Ray Cressing. Here is original cover artist this one. Now, the cover art this one here, this is Brian Ballard. Who was not one of the original cover artists, was Simon Bosley, Jimmy Hallett, Gavin Wilson, Michael S. Kane, Mike Sawowski, Frank Gazizia, Tom Taggart, Duncan Vergiro, Richard Case, Keith Giff, and Mike Managlia. These issues cover the time period of January 1992 and conclude in December 1992. Roughly 1 year worth, actually January 1993, so roughly 1 year worth of storytelling here. And throughout these issues, mostly put, we deal with first the appearance of Mr. Nobody. Yes, that's what he calls himself. Yep, it's like a regular standard for that issue. And of course, you have Joshua Clay questioning the whole thing with Dorothy Spinner. Yeah, there's something that leads to that. So, yeah, it's more weird stuff because it's Grant Morrison, Hippie Parade. Some minor deaths in here, not really affecting the story at all. And then we have in 53, which basically this is a really gorgeous artwork. Reminds me a lot of Jack the King. It's like this is heavily inspired by Jack the King Kirby. That's the whole point of this issue. Seems like it's just a clear homage to Jack the King Kirby. I'm sure that's what the artist was going for. And the whole issue is like, 54, ooh. By the way, love this cover artwork here. I believe the same cover artist who worked on the Sam Mystery Theater series. Yep. Of course, you have Mr. Negative pops up here. Yeah, he returns. Has been gone for a little while. There is some nudity in here. I'm not going to show it. And then 55. Oh boy, this is basically the beginning and the end of this book. Why? Well, we're about to find out. So, Roman has an argument with Joshua Clay. We also have a guy called the Candlemaker. He's like the final villain of this run. Because Brady and Mitch are gone, they then come back years later. So, and then here's some really weird though. Basically, Dorothy Spinner had looked like a seizure. And of course, you have Joshua Clay calling for now let's go there. And then he sees the Chief's wheelchair knock on the ground. He turns around and says, but and he gets shot. By who? It's a mystery, which we'll find out really soon. Yep, Joshua Clay dies. And he's a Paul Cupboard character, so Grant Morrison kills him off during the end of his run. Yep. Lots of fighting, of course. Basically, Roman's like wondering what the heck is going on at Doom Patrol Mansion, Doom Patrol headquarters. Yeah, that's most of exactly what's going on here. Of course, Crazy Jane basically is just doing her own thing. You have Roman just walking to headquarters, and he's like, "Josh? Oh crap! He's a dead body." Like what? And then the chief is standing? What? Yeah, the chief is standing. And Cliff's like, what's going on? Why, Cliff? I don't know what you mean. But you're walking. He's like, yes, I've been quite walk for some time now. But seem more easier to maintain this deception and individuality. It saved me having to explain myself prematurely, though a chair has served me well over the years. However, I'd be lying if I said I miss it. And he kicks it. Yeah, and of course, basically, they'll talk about dead body. He went going to go to this laboratory. He sees this think tank, like, what's going on here? And then basically, like, some weird stuff happens here. There's something with Dorothy going on with her. And then Roman is like, and apparently, yeah, the chief admits that he killed Josh Clay. Yep. He's like, he was beginning to suspect what I was doing. So I quite enough creeping around, constantly asking about abusive questions. Tonight was the final straw. He had no right to intrude what it was his own fault. He only came to ask for help. Something's wrong with Dorothy. He came to ask you for help, for God's sake. That was a rare and unfortunate error on my part. Things happen. And then he causes Cliff to freeze up. You'll think you'll find out about when you'll be able to move. Don't fight yourself trying. When I built you a body, I included electric fail-safe, you see, in case she would stop you. Now then, I suppose you must be curious now. And then Candleman shows up, threatening Dorothy. We see Josh Clay, who's walking around. I'm glad. And he's like, sometimes I'm glad. Sometimes we'll work well. Important enthusiasm. Yeah, and then he reveals this guy here, this creature. Yep. And then he proceeds to walk over the cliff, open up his head, press a button on his and open up and expose his brain. He has needles pointed to it. Yeah, and then he reveals basically what's going on. Apparently he was working with some people, and then it's revealed here that his benefactor in all Doom Patrol stuff was General Immortus, the first bad guy of the Doom Patrol. Yeah, and then they highlight apparently like, so there was assistant of Roadman, basically was a robot before Roadman, R2, who now got killed. Killing a friend. Yeah, and of course, then we have where it's kind of revealed in these here that he was responsible for causing the crash. They caused Cliff Steele become Robot Man. Yeah, and then of course it's revealed he was responsible for having with Larry Trainer became Negative Man and Rita Farr as Elastigirl. So yeah, he's responsible for their accidents, and apparently he watched on the sidelines where apparently that he manipulated all the events of Doom Patrol over the years. Except for basically like the finale where they apparently died, except basically they all came back. Well, just the Chief. Basically the only died was Elastigirl. Though the Chief brought her back in the mid-2000s. Every time part of the new Doom Patrol, your activities. Yeah, and basically detail what Paul Cupboard was up to. And then apparently this creature turns on him, and he rips off Niles' head, and this creature turns into the Candleman, who then proceeds to grab Cliff's brain and squish it. It's like, I am King Candle, I'm the candle maker. The candle maker. Yep, and this guy here is your final villain for the run. So a bit of stuff going on here. Yeah. some weird alternate universe stuff, more nudity because basically it's mature stuff. And of course, apparently Cliff is back somehow. It's kind of weird. This backpack looked like he died. I feel like New York has been attacked. What? What's going on here? Yeah. Here, Crazy Jane, of course. Yeah, deal with the Candlemaker fighting him. And then you have Candleman fighting Larry Trainer. They fight. And it looked like Larry Trainer dies. Yeah. So, what does Cliff do with Candleman? Well, yeah, there's got Kipling, who I think dies over this issue. We have Danny the Street, who tries to run away, but apparently he's here. Then for some reason, I'm not sure why this is, Roman pays a visit to Will Magnus from the Metal Men. And I'm like, Grant Morrison, where is the Metal Men? You have Will Magnus here, but no Metal Men? What's going on here? And then the Candleman shows up at the end of issue 60. Yes. Oh, by the way, he doesn't kill Will Magnus. Oh, no, he doesn't. And eventually, of course, Larry Trainer comes back and female body. Yeah, it's a weird ending. The illusion of the chief. Eventually, of course, the Candleman is defeated by the end of the run. By the way, here's the final issue cover. Crazy Jane in the cover. Just was like he in the real world because it's all like in her mind. Yep. So they kind of wrap this up here with this very issue. This weird stuff. Crazy Jane. And they walk off, and that's how they ended the run. Doom Force, like I said, is a parody of X-Force. This book was actually pretty good. It is. Now, I'm sure probably, despite the fact this run is very quickly acclaimed, I'm sure a lot of people who are Doom Patrol fans at the time probably were upset the fact that Grant Morrison decided to have a retcon where apparently the Chief was behind everything. The Chief. Yes. I'm not sure exactly why Grant Morrison did this for. Like, he did this just like less than 2 issues after the kill of Joshua Clay. Yeah, and he's actually the last character who died in this whole run. Who was not the Candleman. Yeah, the Candleman just he just created him for to be the final villain in this run. But yeah, this is a pretty good run. Does the run live up to the hype basically people give a lot of praise for? Yes. That is 100% completely true. Yeah. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would. Final thoughts on Grant Morrison's time on the Doom Patrol. It is definitely a good run. Yes. Here's the thing though. Originally, this whole run was originally released in 6 volumes. Here, DC decided to do a new printing of this run and shrink it from 6 to 3. Though I have heard that the run that preceded this one and the one that came after the one, those are in trade. But omnibus books for some reason. Not like regular sized books. Not like this for some reason. I have no idea why. But here's the strange thing though. Guess which one run for Doom Patrol is not in trade? You want to know what it is? Here's what surprised you about this run. Now, by the way, Rachel Pauling, with took over the book, her run lasted for a surprising 22 issues, which was actually slightly longer than Paul Cupbart's run on this book, on this volume. Yes, he only did the first 18 and left. I had heard was due to low sales. And then the book got relaunched. Now, by the way, this book ended, I think it was in 1983. I think the book ended in 95, I believe it was. It was brought back in 2001. It just, we have a Doom Patrol book. Okay. And we have John Askin, I believe his name is, who wrote it. It lasted for 22 issues. It definitely felt like basically a rebirth of the Doom Patrol. But sadly put basically the character Dorothy Spinner. Like the writer decided to have a reveal that, like, is the run abruptly ended, and they see Doom Patrol book like, wait, why is Cliff here for? At the start, basically, it's revealed that the romance from here to the start of that run is an illusion created by Dorothy Spinner, and Dorothy Spinner revealed to be in a coma all this time, and then she's taking off life support. Yes, she dies. Now, here's the thing, though. That run is the only run for Doom Patrol not in trade. Completely unknown exactly the reason for that. I have not heard the exact reason why this run has not been collected yet. But John Byrne's run is in trade. Yep, that's all in trade. Keith Gibbons' run. The Keith Gibbons J. Minus run. That mostly is in trade. There was one more trade that was released, but that trade was canceled due to low pre-order sales. Okay. Daniel Way's, anyway, I think it was Jared Way's run. That's pretty much all in trade. Yeah, the whole run that he did, which surprisingly was not very long, and it was delayed due to the fact he's releasing a chemical romance. That's in trade. The Silver Age one, that is in trade, but for some reason the book itself, basically for the Silver Age book, third volume isn't released yet because it doesn't finish the book up yet for some reason. I have no idea why. But I kind of wish that DC would just, when they collect this run, like, because apparently their only focus is the Grant Morrison run. The Rachel Pollack run for the longest time was never in trade. Never. Not a single issue this whole run was in trade. And then I think it was like a year or two ago, they decided to finally collect it in an omnibus book. I'm like, really? An omnibus book to collect Rachel Pollack's run. A run that's only 22 issues and you put it in an omnibus. Why can't you put a book like this or a book like the Bronze Age stuff, whatever like that? I have no idea why. Or here's one. You could have just, I don't know, do a Doom Patrol by Rachel Pollack. 2 volumes, make good money off that. Oh, because she's not a big name like Grant Morrison? Who knows? Okay, so yeah, that's it, particular view. Next about another comic corner, it's on to One Piece. Okay, next video. Bye.